Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another installment of the MRL Fastlane here for the Cup Series at the Indianapolis Road Course. People think that the schedule was made up on the fly. I like to address that. No, the Indy Road Course was indeed scheduled to coincide with the real Cup race. So here we are. That is a big race. Well, in terms of the real life and also this race that we are watching right now, we had the 16th of 18 races for Season 0, and with 2 races left after this one, I cannot wait to tell you guys about how much this race impacted the standings, as well as the battle for third on back, as well as the battle for relegation. So, there's a lot to talk about today, so let's just get straight into it. I don't have the results page, so you know how we go to the qualifying page and all that. You can see here that Packers was on pole. Packers actually put in a time. I'm so proud of him. He put in a time. Packers was actually on pole. And with a very decent lap as well, 124.1. Well, almost 8 tenths on P2 of Cyber, who you can, that's not it, you can see is right here. Of course, as they go through the pace lap, they only had to do 1 lap around here. Goose, US Track Enterprise, did not have as good of a lap as Cyber did, only being 1/10 off. It was so close. But he did get P3, matching his best qualifying to date. And I had to give a good old tip of the hat to Goose. Goose is a road course master. He's one of those that is on the best for the road courses. And I even picked him as one of my dark horses. Of course, he is good here no matter what. And because of that, we have a... you can see it right here with his lap. With a 125 flat, he was able to get P3. Nathan, Agent Orange, did not race. You can actually see it right here. Right here. Went to the in-laws for dinner and lost track of time. He unfortunately did not start the race. He would have lined up for fourth, giving it to Liam. Liam in the 43 is one of those that is very good at road courses. Of course, he has his better tracks, but he likes to consider himself a road course ace, which is why he put in a lap, and it was good enough for fourth on the grid. Brandon as well put in a lap. He even said that he just did it because he wasn't actually expecting the race. Another person that didn't race was Cade. So him and Nathan got last place points because they put in a lap. Congrats. Now we go into the ones that did not put in a lap. The ones that felt like it was not necessary to put in a lap. Xander. Very surprising. Xander was actually one of those that did not put in a lap. He's actually one of those that apart from Charlotte, has not missed putting in a lap. So this is one of those times that he did not do that. BD as well did not put in a lap, but he did race. UK did not put in a lap, nor did he race, which is unfortunate because he is really down on himself for his actions of road course racing, which I think are totally unfounded. But because of that, Pied Piper gets the spot above him, netting him a grand total of 9th on the board. Baswick also races, putting him 10th, Shackett in 11th, T-Bird 12th, and then all these guys below did not race. However, we have 2 new people joining us. You have Kalen in the 11. I wonder if we're going to go on board with them. As we can see it, they're going to be 13th. He's going to line up 13th, of course. He is one of the Xfinity exclusives. He wanted to use up one of his slots in order to race at the road course. You can see him right there. There he is. Oh, right here. There he is, right here. And then in the 00 is Hunty Wild. Hunty Wild always watches the streams. He wanted to test the waters and see exactly how he would stack up against the Cup Series. So because of that, he is all the way up here in, 14th, but he is going to be ones to watch. He is going to be one of those that is going to be lining up a really fast guy, I'll say that. So, right here, we want to just kind of skip on ahead. That was the qualifying. Now, the Indy road course is very difficult, is what I'll say, to put it nicely. Very difficult. And you can see that the corners, if you overstep that boundary, you can actually get a penalty by going over over the knife edge. So it's all about knowing what you can and cannot get away with. And because of that, the Indy road course is arguably one of the hardest road courses on the game. Knowing what you can and cannot get away with, as well as how flat it is. You see how it's really flat? There's no banking whatsoever, because that makes it so much more difficult to get the power down, because the tires are trying to grip something with banking, so it has more speed. But with everything being so flat, it's really hard for the tires to grasp onto the track surface, and you actually can able to run down the throttle. So because of that, the drivers have a lot on their plates right now going into this race. We have 14 people total joining us. 16 will collect points at the end of this race, and Packers will lead them to green. And I'm just going to show you. That's why we're riding out along here, because turn 1, with the 2 cautions that happen throughout this race, as you can see, the 9 immediately pulling off to the side. Turn 1 is one of the hardest turns in the entirety. You can see it right there. BD really late on the brakes, but because of that, he went wide and had to basically go all the way back to the pack. He is in the rear right now. He actually gets booted off the side right there. So because of that, you can see that why we held on to it. Turn 1, Xander, all the way from P7 to P2 in the matter of 3 corners. Piper as well, holding up the back of the pack. The 51 getting a penalty right there. That is why you have to know what you can and cannot get away with, because of how aggressive this opening lap can be. We're still on board with this lap. Hunty is all the way up into P7 right now, and he is moving forward. Xander, though, already looking to take the lead. Packers, though, is going to come out on of the actual road course section into the short shoot of turns, Indy turns 1 and 2, but he will go wide, and that will literally give Xander the advantage right there. I'm actually surprised that Brandon actually got away with that. I'm surprised he did not get a penalty, but you can see him moving forward, and Xander will continue this streak. So let's kind of skip ahead a little bit right now. So skipping forward a couple laps, you can see that the field is really spread out now. You can see those that are really being I'll say aggressive, which is going to be like the 38, or not, sorry, not aggressive. The people that are being really conservative, and those that are being really aggressive. Aggressive being like, I would have to say like Hunty, but he's getting away with it. He knows what he can get away with, but Xander has already gone. See, going wide. He knows that going over that strip, technically that strip is not registered to the game, so you can go over that without penalty. It does not actually register as a strip, but Xander, so as Hunty is entering the final 2 corners, Xander's already gone, so that is what the gap between first and second right now, which Hunty is now in P2. But the drivers that are really encountering problems, I would have to say, there's the 51 to 22 is having a lot of issues. Kalen's making his way through the field. Cyber, we're going to come back to Cyber because that's going to be really important. The 51, though, clips the grass. I'm surprised he actually didn't get a penalty from that. But being really aggressive with the others. He actually got knocked off a course, and he lost 2 spots in the matter of a corner right there. But T-Bird as well is very good on road courses. He just, unfortunately, tonight will be not his night. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. So you can see that Xander is still the leader. However, Hunty is closing him down. There is a lot on the line here. Of course, entering this race, there was 120 points separated between first and second. So Xander had a lot of ground to gain. So of course, him being out front at this point, Cyber is right here, and that is P4. Very good. Liam, P5. Excellent job. Liam, of course, doing what he does best at road courses and is able to move forward. There we go. Awesome. So because of that, we have Liam. Oh, and we have our first caution. It's a good thing I picked this timestamp. Like I said, I have my notes right in front of me. Our first caution is out right now, and I actually have a clip from Piper. If you want to check out twitch.tv/Piper, as we see T-Bert has gone. There was actually a bit of a conundrum between two drivers in the back of the pack. I'll just let the clip do the talking. But our caution has been called, and we're going to kind of skip ahead here to the restart because Xander and Hunty are now lining up 1 and 2. Now, at this point, it's going to come down to strategy because we did a little bit of math in our head here, and we had the math that you'd go about 10 laps, and that was literally a lap before that could have happened. Hunty had a penalty, and that is going to put him all the way back from first to last. But Brandon actually has another clip you can check out on his YouTube. /BRightRacing. And of that clip of him going from 10th to 1st, only to get passed by Xander back. So, of course, Brandon, BD up here as well. Those two looking for positions as well. Trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Everyone trying to get single file, knowing that cutting that corner will result in a penalty, which you saw from Worst Cod right over here. Or, sorry, BD. But you can see that it's all about just maintaining and going out as hard as possible within the boundaries of the track. As you can see, Packers then gets it. Justin Shackett went to the left. He was supposed to go to the right. Cyber, very important from Cyber, is now caught up in that, and he is going to be last as soon as BD gets past him, but he actually holds out in front. So that is a very not so good thing right now. That is P12 technically, because Worst Cod's still a lap down, as well as what's it called? T-Bird being out of the race. This is what I'm just talking about. It is so hard for a penalty to not occur with something like that. That wasn't even your fault, because he went wide. Worst Cod right there had a penalty, but we're going to kind of skip ahead here as we go business as usual. You can see that as the race starts going through, the field gets wider and wider. There's Kalen, who is very, very fast. I wasn't expecting him to be as fast, but right now this is battling for a podium. As I just take a swig of my drink. But you can see the leaders are directly in front, so there's not a whole lot of space between these guys. But Kalen is doing his best. Goose, very good job from Goose here. But you can see that everyone is encountering some kind of issues. Let's kind of skip ahead a little bit more to about right here. You can see that Cyber, this is towards the point of pit stops. Pit stops are right around the corner. Cyber is making his way through the field, whether it be from other people making mistakes or him just being straight up faster. You know, Cyber is a very fast guy, but you can see that as Worst Cod is encountering more issues, that Cyber is doing his best to move forward. That is the battle for the lead. However, with pit stops on the horizon, people are starting to save. Xander is starting to save right now as Brandon gets a penalty from doing that. Is trying to save some fuel because, like I said, if these guys would stop right now, they would have to go 11 laps. Meanwhile, Xander's trying to save an extra lap in order to make it on fuel. So that is why the gap is so low, and that is why strategy is abound. Like I said, you're going to see people start coming down pit road here soon, but Hunty will come on down. However, another caution comes out at the perfect time for these guys, so that is basically not even worrying about this. Now this is the restart that matters. You can see that you have Liam up here who did not stay out. They saved enough fuel that they only had to take enough fuel to go, and their tires are fine. So very important strat right there, because watch this turn 1 and watch this melee. Turn 1 was definitely the hot spot of the race. Xander, though, goes on the outside. Optimally, you want to be where Liam is right now, but because of that, he broke late and was able to take a perfect turn 1. That puts Xander to P3. Look at the melee behind you. You do not want to be a part of that, especially going through this set of corners and going through the fast chicane right here. But you can see right there, that is not what you want. You don't want to be double file. You want to start singling on out. Bass gets a penalty, and that puts Xander back up into P2. Hunty, though, is on the charge. You can see right there, Hunty is now looking into a P5, make that P4, looking for P3, but that is not what you want to see from Bass. But yeah, that is exactly what I'm talking about in terms of knowing what you can and cannot get away with, because right now, you can see that with everyone fighting the way they are right now, that is a battle that is basically already lost. Right now, the laps are starting to close on out, and Cyber is all the way back towards the top 10, the edge of the top 10. Cyber goes wide right there. He just cannot get the power down. And with a handful of laps to go, right here, that is the end of the race. And just right there, Cyber gets P10, and Xander wins the race. That is a whopping difference of 36 points that was gained right there. So, to kind of go through the entire running order, we have Xander, Kalen P2, excellent job. Liam gets his first Cup podium of his career. Golf clap for Liam. Hunty in his debut along with Kalen gets P4. Goose, US Trek Enterprise gets P5. Piper P6. Bass P7. BD P8. Packers P9. And Cyber P10. Brandon, we're on board with him, is P11. Justin Shackett P12. Worst Cod P13. T-Bird P14. Nathan P15. And 16th goes to Cade, who the latter two gets classified with last place points. So a lot of implications for that race. Let's go to the points right now. You can see that the points have now been cut to 92 with 2 races left. The first being Texas and the next of Homestead. Technically, the top 5 can still win the title. Realistically, Xander is the only one with a shot. And then even that, 92 points is a lot to overcome. So we're going to see exactly what Texas and Homestead bring, because with the final 2 races of the season, before our mini season, that is a new thing that we're going to be talking about here. In fact, actually, we're going to be going to the Discord after this, because there's a lot of announcements. So because of that, we are going to be looking at that. Actually, you know what? I'll save that for another video. So yeah, don't worry about that. We're going to be talking for Fastlane and then our announcements right there. So yeah, that is a lot of points to be gained. However, look at this. You have 9 points separating 4th and 5th on the board, but then the real battle is down here between really technically 7th through 10th, and maybe put 11th in there. Of course, UK, who did not race, lost a lot. He put in a lap, my guy. That's what that is for. But because of that, P11 is where he's going to fall to on in terms of the Cup side. His Xfinity side of things, though, is going to be a little bit better. However, one thing you want to I want to point out here, and you may have noticed already, is that there is no longer a relegation battle. Rockstar, technically, no matter what, well, I'm lying when I say that. Realistically, cannot make it into the top 15 in 2 races. T-Bird either just needs to not show up and not put in a lap, and Rockstar has to win both races. Realistically, it's very hard to do, but not impossible, though. So we're going to see how that kind of shakes out now with those final two races. Of course, Hunty in his first start matches MH with his first start. So both of those being really, really good starts to the first timers here. Basically, you can see right here that everyone down below had one start. You have up here 2 starts, 3 starts, 4 starts, or really 4 starts right here, 5, and plus. So you can see the categories right here, but we do have battles and still points to award. We still have 2 more races. Let's go into the stats now. That's not it. Stats. So, very pivotally, despite leading the championship, Cyber does not have the best average finish anymore. It's actually a tie. Very interesting. It is Xander and Bass, who both have 4.5 average finish. So Bass, who's so down on himself every time, he had a P7 finish tonight. Still, with a 4.5, basically he finishes where he starts. And that is exactly how you build up points. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the mini season as well as the season 1 proper. However, Cyber does have the 3rd best average finish. UK has 4th, and then surprisingly for some, unsurprisingly for others, Packers has the 5th best average finish, with a lot of the other drivers having around an 8 or a 7 place average finish, which in that place would go to Nathan. And I'm talking full-time drivers, not like the one-offs like the MH, the Kalins, the Hunties. You know, I'm talking the ones that are basically full-time plus. So like Justin Shack would fall into that. Liam would fall into that. Again, 9.4, 8.8. Those being the average finishes, because most of the runners are in like the 7 to 8, 9 place ranges, which is very competitive if you think about it. Very competitive when most of the average finishes are very close to each other, which is why we have such a good points battle right here. Even, like I said, with Piper. Piper, as well, has been, honestly, the shock to the entire Cup garage. Piper, who has told me, Private Patton, multiple times, that he felt he's always been classified as a back marker. P7 in points says otherwise. Piper has made his name and belongs in the top echelon. Let's look at his stats right now. I want to highlight Piper for the driver showcase right now. Piper, and this is exactly why people should join MRL. Hashtag shameless self-plug, but MRL, with no stage racing, there is a lot of racing that can occur and allows for strategies to play on out. Piper, 13 starts. He has 1 top 5, which came at, let's check out, because I don't recall off the top of my head. Top 5 came at Dega. Of course, he's known as the ringer there. He is the best at super speedways. He is the Pied Piper, of course. But 5 top 10s with his basically finish starting where he started, which is very close, funnily enough. But still, with that stat line, it's good for 7th place. Now, of course, if he had like an 8th place average finish, he would be up here to like P4, P5. In the standings. Of course, he's had a couple bad races himself, but who hasn't? Cyber, 21st at Daytona. Xander, 19th at Talladega, 13th at Kentucky. Everyone has their bad races. In this format, it's all about minimizing mistakes and not compounding them into something more. Piper, his worst finish so far this season has been 16th at Kansas. And that's honestly because he got called away. He had to deal with this kid. But most of his finishes have been the outskirts of the top 10. But still, that's good. that's really, really good. And that's what I'm talking about when MRL comes to town. So, for exactly stuff like that, that is why we do things the way we do, because it allows for that competitive edge to really come on out. And I think that is why this is so important. So let's go into the real talk of this, the real meat and potatoes. With the stats being updated, Texas is on the horizon. We have a couple surprise starters for this race, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. Skip the word. And I think this surprise person, I'm not going to name names. We're just going to find out when the qualifying sheet comes alive tomorrow. And we will show, but I think he's going to be the one to watch. He's really good at Texas. So I'm gonna put him as my definite dark horse number 1. Yes, we're starting with the dark horse. This person is gonna be the first and foremost dark horse pick. Again, not naming names, but let's watch for him. Dark horse number 2. I think, in terms of Texas, Texas is one of those driver-centric tracks because of Turn 4 and how pit road can really make or break your race. In fact, actually, I told the drivers multiple times to at least practice getting onto pit road, because you don't want a pit road speeding penalty. It's going to be so important for that to happen. So I think the one to minimize the mistakes, and the dark horse here is going to be Goose, US Track Enterprise, with his first, well, I guess second top 5 of the season so far, coming at the hands of the Indy Road Course. He's one of those driver-centric individuals that really minimizes those mistakes, and I think he's going to be the dark horse, the one to watch. I think in terms of his mile-and-a-half performances, let's look at those. P7 at Vegas, P15 at Charlotte. I do remember that he had to leave. He lagged on out, so that I count that, but not really at the same time. P7 at Kentucky. Okay, good. P7 at Dover. P8 at Kansas. He is going to be right around there. He did not race Darlington, but I think he'll be right around the top 5, maybe like 6th, 7th, 8th, that range. But should things go right, should a caution come on out, watch for him to move forward. So let's put Goose, US Track Enterprise, as the dark horse number 2. Dark horse, sorry, not dark horse. Let's go into the power rankings proper now, the 1 through 5. First, Xander's on a hot streak. He has the chance to close on down 92 points. Of course, he, on average, has to go 46 points gain. Not impossible, but Cyber is not going to go out without a fight. So that is why these two are going to be the real ones to watch. However, Xander is going to take the number 1 spot here, and I think Bass is going to take number 2. Bass number 2, and of course the power rankings are all about like the momentum. I'm going to point on out, and this is just facts, unfortunately, but Cyber, beginning part of the season, absolutely flawless. Up to Dover, with a little bit of dip of Bristol at 6th. That's fine. But then, okay, so that is an average of 2.8 in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 races. In the past 6, an average finish of 2.5. In the past 6, average of 9th. Cyber. Meanwhile, let's total that out with Xander's. All right, average finish of 5.5, of course, with the odd ones being Dega, Vegas, and Kentucky. Cool. Then the last 6, third, you have a flip between Cyber being dominant in the first part and then Xander being dominant in the second part. It's a flip. But, however, Bass here, I think, where is he at? He's around here somewhere. There he is. Bass has been on a hot streak since Road America. Of course, he missed Kansas and Daytona, but that's for personal reasons. 4.25 average position. That is what I'm saying. He's number 2. I think number 3 is going to go to Packers. Packers as well has started coming to life. Again, apart from Daytona. But Daytona, you see 23rd from Brandon. You see 14th from Goose. You see 21st from Cyber. I'm not really counting Daytona in that. Of course, Daytona is the odd one out there. But still... and that's really no fault of his own, but from Packers' side of things, it's still a 7.6 average compared to everyone else. I think Cyber is going to be number 4 on this list. So to recap, I have, in the power rankings, I have Xander in number 1, Bass number 2, Packers number 3, and then Cyber number 4. Cyber, of course, he's more than likely going to win the title unless some kind of drastic fall off here happens. I think he's still going to win the title because he just built up enough gap over Xander in that beginning part of the season. And sometimes this is going to be the standard about why you never give up. Because sometimes when crap happens, you know, you're going to need that extra buffer. But because of that, I think Cyber is going to be number 4 on this list. And number 5... I'm just going to shoot out here. It's going to be Texas. Brandon. Be Right Racing is going to be the 3rd on this list. He's been practicing for Texas. He's had this track circled. And I think the fruits of that labor is going to show off here. I think Brandon is going to be the number 1 to watch here. Let's go and compare his stats, actually. Brandon, of course, first part of the season, 7.4. And since 12.4. However, I think because of that practice is going to really come on out. Of course, when Brandon's the kind of individual is that when he sets his mind to something, it won't go past. I think he will look and make sure that this race is going to be the best he can do. And because of that, I'm putting him... Because I've never seen him practice this much for a track. So let's make Brandon the number 5 pick. So, Xander, Bass, Packers, Cyber, Brandon. Dark Horse picks the unknown mystery driver. And then I'm going to be putting Goose, US Track Enterprise, in that list as well. So with that being said, we have a lot in store for Texas, as well as the Indy Road Course being, for all intents and purposes, the final shakeup for the season, of course, with some being on top of others, Liam especially gaining a lot of ground. Of course, Justin Shackett and Liam have set a personal goal to pass Worscott here, because really, from the real battle is from like 11th forward, and then you have 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th all fighting for that. So that is what, this is their battle right here. And then 11th on forward is their own battle. So, because of that, this has been MRL Fastlane for the Cup side of things. Let us know who your picks are for the season champion, as well as who do you think is going to win the race. If I were to be a betting man and win the race, of course, I mean, I would have to go with Xander. He's been on a hot streak of 3 wins in a row. 4 in the past 5 races. I think Xander's going to be the one to watch. However, Texas, anything can happen. Let's see how this happens and how this kind of shakes on out the points. Because like I said, with 2 races left, everything is... It's going to be hold 'em or fold 'em because we're going to go. So let me know if you enjoyed this episode. And I will see y'all in the next one. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.